Today, I'm going to break down how we help companies find more and better influencers, as well as start their first influencer campaign. So look at AG1. Their growth has went from 160 million to 600 million in 3 years. So the way they did this is with a couple of things. Now, one of them was influencers. And you can see the amount of sponsored videos that they've created on YouTube. Now, the reason that I talk about this, and this is a 55% compounding growth rate year over year. And the reason that I talk about this is because they've been one of the most successful D2C companies to use influencers. We've even taken a sheet with over 290 creators that they did in 2025 and analyzed every single sponsored video. And one thing that we found was that brands will only sponsor an influencer more than 10, 20, 30 times if it's working. So for example, More Than Farmers was sponsored more than 52 times by Thrive Market, 45 times by Super Ceiling, and 31 times by Zero Shoes. None of these sponsorships would happen if the creator was bringing in ROI. So this is just one of the data points that we look at to vet a creator. Now, this is very important because this is at the heart of finding influencers that are going to perform well, that are going to add to your influencer collection, and that are going to be good to start off with. So let's dive right in. Now, we can see that, apart from this, we would also look through our exclusive roster. Now, your campaign might require certain influencers that we don't have. And that's why we'll go to one of our agency partners, or we'll find talent ourselves. We have this dashboard, shows a bunch of different influencers. We have a bunch of stats that we look through, and this helps us find the right influencers. And here's our dashboard, influenceradvisory.com/partners. You can see all the partner agencies we have here. Now, a lot of agencies focus on awareness. They just give you views. We focus on the bottom line conversions because, after chatting with so many business owners, we find that's what they care about. Regarding who we are, you can go to influenceradvisory.com/team. We've got VAs across the world. Primarily, our team is based in Toronto, Canada. And we are small, which means you'll get care. You're not just another number. We care about every single client, keeping communication open 24/7, everything flowing both ways. And our primary customers are D2C local businesses and software brands. Now, a big thing that we found is a lot of brands have encountered issues when paying one-off influencers as opposed to influencer ambassadors. Now, if you look at most influencer partnerships, a lot of them will sound scripted. And if you actually go to influenceradvisory.com/examples, you'll see what some of these really fake ones look like and what the good ones look like. But they sound scripted. And what this causes is people to skip ahead. Now, if people skip ahead, they're not even going to see the advertisement. It's going to completely skew your marketing costs. Instead, with our influencer partners, what we do is we have a system which gets them to like the product and find influencers who already like your product before you even engage into the sponsorship. And they're also incentivized to do their best promoting the product because it's a hybrid structure as opposed to a flat fee. Now, think about Gymshark athletes. Gymshark athletes effectively follow this exact same concept with influencers who had skin in the game. And you can even see here, Ben Francis talks about how to become one. This is framed as something exclusive, and this is what has allowed them to scale to 1.8 billion, or this is $1.4 billion valuation. I think this was 2025. So think about it this way. If you're able to get good influencers, you're going to have a flywheel. So the way it works, you select based on data. So we've got data not only from our own campaigns. And, if an influencer has performed well 9 out of 10 times, chances are 11th sponsorship is going to be good as well. Of course, we make sure there's no competing brands that we re-sponsor. So if you have a brand and you're worried about an influencer, signing exclusivity, all that, that's not an issue because influencers are going to like your brand. It's not going to be cheap, but that's why you pay a premium with us. Then from there, so coming back to here, you're going to select them based on data. You're going to test the fit. And then you're going to be able to scale the winners. Now, what this means is buying usage rights and whitelisting rights. And the influencers that do well, you're going to be able to scale them. Then from there, you're going to be able to build belief, exclusivity. And the way you're going to do this is by having them storytell. We're going to learn all about this in the creative brief. And then effectively this compounds into a flywheel like this. So you start by selecting it based on data. You test, which ones fit. You scale the winners, so you do more sponsorships of those. You get whitelisting rights. You spread it on UGC content on your page, on their page, and then the results will basically compound as you have more data, and now you know better, and now you can compare it to other influencers and pick better ones from then. So one thing that we look at is not just views and ROAS. We look at some of the DBRR metrics. What is the lifetime value of a customer coming in through influencers versus cold ads? Very important, because an ad, think about it. It's a random cold interruption that someone's getting while they're doing something else, versus imagine your friend recommending a product. Now, an influencer in many ways is a friend with a lot of these people. So they're more likely to buy. We found on average 2.4x. This really varies though, depending on campaign to campaign. It's also lower cost to acquire each customer. Yes, influencers will typically cost more, but if you do it right, actually it'll be comparable to, let's say, Meta ads. And with that being said, your conversion will be much higher. LTV will be much higher. And the cost to acquire a customer will be much lower. Now, what we've also noticed is because it's warmer leads, your conversion rate is much higher. And what we've also noticed is you have more of a repeat purchase rate, because people are willing to give your product more leeway, especially if your product needs a couple of usage times to see an effect. Especially if that's the case, they're going to give you more leeway, and then you will have more conversions when you run retargeting ads, because influencers see these warm ads, and also less churn just as an effect of higher LTV. Now, what we focus on is specifically D2C, local businesses, and software as a service. So how we are basically trying to help, brands in a couple categories. One is helping them acquire new customers, so find out about your products, then get those customers that have bought from you to buy products more often, and then to launch product lines in holiday seasons, or just ramp up marketing spend in holiday seasons and capitalize on all the sales, on everything going on, and a couple other things here, which you can go ahead and read on your own. Don't want to keep it too long. And then from there, influencers are one of the warmest touch points in the funnel. So what'll typically happen is someone will see a TikTok video, they'll see the influencer using the product. They'll be convinced, then they might search about the product, they might visit the website, but they don't buy. Until a few weeks later when they get a retargeting ad, in which case they'll sign up for maybe a discount, but they won't actually use it. In which case then we retarget them we send them email campaigns, we send them SMS campaigns. That then takes them to our webpage, which has UGC and social proof from this influencer and other influencers. And then they go ahead and they finally invest. Once they're in the loop, very easy to run them email and SMS, and then get them to become repeat customers. It's much easier to sell existing customers new offers, instead of finding every single time new customers. And that's why I look at what Gorilla 3. What did Gorilla do? Well, what they did is effectively market these 4 offers on the same creator on just different videos. So here they marketed their omega-3 fish oil. Here they marketed their high stem pre-workout powder, their micronuts creatine. This is actual product, and this is what it is. So this was Gorilla Mind X More Plates, More Dates. That was the name of the creator. And they use different value propositions and different creators to emphasize different points. Because the video which talks about high stimulation pre-workout powder would have a different messaging, would have a slightly different target segment than an all-day focused nootropic targeted towards people who study, etc. Now, what we also do is help brands expand into new markets. NordVPN has sponsored multiple channels across multiple different countries. They've been sponsoring German YouTubers, Spanish YouTubers, French, Italian, UK, and many more different languages. What this lets you do is capitalize on different markets. And this is great if you don't have the same level of competition in different markets. Now, if we were to sum up 3 things that we focus on, it would be first, hiring influencer ambassadors. The second would be advertising in very highly regulated spaces. And the third would be focusing on gathering data, because We can never predict how an organic video is going to perform, but what we can predict is how well the future is going to unfold based on their past results. As I mentioned, if an influencer gets 9 sponsored videos that perform really well, then chances are the 10th, 11th video is going to perform pretty well. Now, something that we see brands making, a mistake that brands make time and time again, is partnering with only bottom of funnel influencers. Now, what the heck does this mean? So to give you an example, let's say you have a hair loss brand. And if you only sponsor YouTube videos from creators who talk about hair loss, you're going to miss a huge percentage of the market. You're going to be capturing all the market down here. Now, they are high intent, right? It's people who are watching this YouTuber to learn how to prevent hair loss, like I've got some. But what you're going to miss out is people who maybe don't watch this YouTuber, but still have some concerns about hair loss. They might not be as pronounced, but if you bring up the right creative, then they would see the issue and they might be incentivized to try to take an action, whether it's buying a product, taking a course, or something to fix it. So the way this would work is, let's say, bottom of the funnel, these are creators who only talk about hair loss. You're going to see low volume. Not a lot of YouTubers who do this. The ones who do have few views, but they're going to have the highest conversion because it's very targeted. Or you're going to have a high CPM. But if you take a level up to the middle of the funnel, you take a step up, you go to the middle of the funnel, what you're going to find is you have more volume. You're going to have middle level of CPM, but what you're going to have is fewer competitors. Because a lot of your competitors, if they're doing influencer marketing, they're sponsoring these people at the bottom of the funnel. So by targeting, let's say, creators who optimize hormones and health, and they talk about their experience, you're going to be able to have cheaper CPM. You're going to be able to have slightly lower conversion rate. But what that will lead to is a higher volume. So in the end, it'll still make up for it. And you might even get the same volume of actual conversions or higher. Now, if you take a step up, level higher, go to the top of the funnel, now you're just sponsoring any creators who talk about fitness, lifestyle, or sports. Now, the audience watching, some of them might have a hair loss problem, some of them might, but might not. But the volume is so high that there's bound to be a good amount of people. Now, in all these cases, it's not like one will give you a higher end volume. All of them are equal. But one thing for sure is when you move up the volume, you're going to be going against less competition. And that's when we've noticed, especially in brands which have a very niche market with competitors not really getting to this yet, that's when we notice the results. You're going to have cheaper CPMs. You're not going to have to fight exclusivity clauses. And you can be this creator's favorite product. Because they might have a bit of hair loss, but they haven't thought about it much. So you would be the first product stepping in that's making a difference. Now, we got a couple offers. One of them is the scale package. If you're an enterprise plan, this is what we suggest. If you're making under 100 million a year, we suggest you go to the starter plan. So you can just skip through to the starter plan. Otherwise, what we're going to get you is 75 targeted influencers at all levels of the funnel to make 3 sponsored videos of your brand. That adds up to 225 sponsored videos over 3 months. Now, this is a huge jump. This is for companies wanting to make 7, 8, 9 figures as a return from their investment. Now, what does it actually cost? Well, this much over 3 months. So that adds up to around $400,000 to $600,000 per month, or in total. That's what I meant, in total. Now, what will this actually get you? Well, it's what I mentioned prior, and each one will have a pre-roll sponsored integration. It's going to have not only that, but a brand mention in the comment description. And what you can expect is around, 6 to 18 million targeted views. This is for companies who really want to take a step forward, who want to get a massive amount of customers. Now, what we also do is we give this minimum deliverable of 3 long-form sponsored videos over the 3 months, but we don't limit creators there. So what we do is we give them a commission. We give them a commission, and this incentivizes them to go ahead and go above and beyond and post some shorts and post things that were not included in the initial contract. And not only that, but the goal of this is to take creators who are going to be long-term champions. So 3 months is a good starting point. Any less, you sound fake, because a lot of the audiences of the creators will actually see, hey, he's doing 1 sponsorship. It's not real. You do 3, they see, okay, he's actually believed in this brand. I want to buy. And you do any more and you might be wasting money on creators that don't convert. So 3 is the best test spot with our creators. So what would we actually do? Well, we would vet the creators. We're going to write the creative brief. We're going to set up attribution properly, multi-touch attribution. We need to see, hey, are they being touched by the retargeting ads, or are they being touched by the integration, maybe the SMS, or maybe some other marketing efforts you're doing? What's actually causing the sale? We're going to keep your arrivals out with an exclusivity clause, and we're going to make sure that if you do have a regulated product, we're going to review it against any guidelines locally and platform-wise to make sure that you don't get banned. And you do have usage rights to reuse it as organic content for 90 days. Now, the starter plan is the exact same thing, but as a much smaller scale, adding up to around 45,000 to around 60,000 over the total campaign. And what's our fee of this? It's typically around, out of this one, it's around 2,000 to 3,000 per month, so 9,000 total, to do the same deliverables that we talked about before, and making sure that we're getting you the best possible creators. So you can actually pick the best fitted creator, the ones who have performed the best, but you're still going to get few conversions. Now, why is this the case? Well, that's because if someone watches a sponsored segment, but no one buys, well, what I meant by that is if no one watches a sponsored segment, no one's going to buy. Why is that the case? Because people are skipping it. Now, what happens if someone starts with a very monotone way of speaking, people are just going to skip it, right? If they sound like they're being forced to read a script, people are going to skip it. Now, good sponsor video with a really good creative, really good hook, we've noticed that could 10 to 20x conversion rates. And that's something that we look at. We collaborate very closely with your team to make sure that we carry over the value propositions, and we put that in line with how the creator naturally sounds to create a really engaging video. Now, what else do we look at when building the creative? Well, we actually look at, does the hook build curiosity? Now, if it builds a lot of curiosity, people are going to want to keep on watching. There's a lot of questions that the video created that they want the answers to. We also look at, does the segment transition naturally from the video? The video typically creates problems. For example, let's say it's a creator teaching interior design. They might say, well, I used this lamp and it gave the room a really good look, but without the right lighting, the room just wouldn't really work. That's a weak example, but you can find a stronger one where, for example, it's a video teaching business owners how to set up Claude Code or how to set up an AI tool. The transition might be, well, none of this matters. Setting up an AI tool will not matter if you're not able to set up a business first. For, let's say the video is targeted to beginner business owners. In that case, you could then sell a business incorporation tool. We did this campaign with Doola recently, Doola. You can actually see an example here. If you go on influenceradvisory.com/overview-main, you'll see it. But something that we've noticed, and this is a little tip before we sign off, a golden metric to look at. If you ever have any doubts whether a YouTuber is good or not, ask them to go in their YouTube dashboard, go in advanced mode, click on audience size and growth, and tell them to send you a screenshot of what is regular viewers. Now, if anything is below 1 to 2, 3%, you got to be careful. You might have bought fake followers, or their content's just not good. So the audience is not engaging. They might just be riding a viral wave. You want to look at something like this. 9% regular viewers, it's pretty good. 36% casual viewers, really good. That basically just tells you how often viewers come back to the channel. Now think about it. If you buy bots, bot accounts get banned, they're not going to come back. Your new viewers are going to be extraordinarily high. Or if you don't have bots, you're just not going to have a loyal audience, right? And you can just get here by being in your YouTube analytics. You can even show them this exact screenshot. Click see more, and you see it over here. So hopefully this tip saves you a lot of money. Now, if you are interested, click the link down below, and I'm going to show you how we can run this campaign for you and get you high-performing influencers. And not only that, but these influencers are going to have the best creatives. They're going to be new influencers. They're going to help you expand to a new market. They're going to help you launch a new product line. They're going to help you capitalize on a new holiday. And you can do this all by going on our site, influenceradvisory.com, where we go into detail exactly how we help brands do this.